Here's another quick trick. I'm actually starting to do a 9B here. And first trick I'm going to show you is I finally opted to have one sheet per color. So in order for me to do the video, that's what I did, but you might find it to be more useful as well. So I've actually, number 9 is sequence is in the fabric B, and I've already got my 6B that I've just shown you, and so I started tracing 9B, sorry, on the interfacing as well, and so it was kind of confusing to figure out what to mark. And again, I referred back to this guideline, so I can see that there's a straight line. The end here is really the last piece. There's no fabric going over it, so it has to be a clean cut, but everything else, there will be some overlap, so I need to keep 1/4 inch as a seam. When I look at the design though, I see that there are some mains going over that are not there, which means that I do have to create my own line underneath the main, which is what actually I've done here. So now the last item was to decide exactly where do I start my my overlapping guides here. So in case you're wondering how do you decide, I'm going to show you thanks to this extra piece that I have for color E. So it was the sequence number 8. That's actually right here. I'm going to show you on the pattern if I don't get completely lost. The 8E is here, and the 8E is here, sorry, and the 9 is this section here. So you have the main that are overlapping there. So my 9 is there, and I'm just going to overlap the 8 that I've already done, and I've already marked here my the seam allowance that's going over. And so that's where you'll actually notice, if you really take the time to I'm just going to put the 8 underneath because I've already drawn it, and I'm going to put the 9 over so that you see the sections where the 9 is actually overlapping on the 8. And here we go. So you'll see here you have your seam allowance, the extra seam allowance that's here. So that's going to be going underneath here. So this is the intersection where you're going to need to start. See, you have your line here, you have the extra seam allowance that's here that then moves this way, and the 9 is actually moving upward. So this is where you'll need to start having that extra fabric in this intersection. So that's when you start to design your your extra selvage through the design pattern, just like it's mentioned here. So that's how you find that intersection, and then you can go along and add your extra seam allowance here. And again, when you're trying to figure out where do I stop on this section, you just see that the 7C, again, if you take your overlapping 7C here, you'll notice that this is where the intersection is, so you need to add that extra seam allowance in that area here, which is really tight with the 6B I've just done, but I'm going to make it work.